any question to the election commission is being immediately taken as okay, you are now challenging our election, right, our victory. So that is the immediate narrative that is, and that is also the reason why you see this whole launch of attack on Rahul Gandhi or on the opposition, because that is not seen as a question on the process, or rather a failure of the election commission in ensuring the process. It is seen as okay, now you are questioning the legitimacy of the government itself. That is very dangerous for the democracy. You are now doing some anarchy, something, you just going spiraling over this and then starting to attack. Instead, you should be more worried. Is this could be an enemy actor, right? It could be somebody else who's trying to do this. It is important to understand where these attempts originated from. Did it originate from within India? Did it originate from outside of India? Whether it is a state actor, whether it is a non-state actor. These are important things to understand. This is an attack to vitiate India's election process. And something that we have taken pride over so many years, the election commission itself has taken pride over so many years, this is an attack on that. And we still don't have the answer. And it is rather disconcerting that the apex election body is comfortable with this ignorance, that they don't know who did this, or they don't know where else this has happened. They don't know who is behind it. Now, the more commission takes a very brazen stance of okay, dismissive stance, that okay, nothing has happened, all whatever you are saying is all wrong. It's very easy to say that, but what is losing is its own legitimacy. The commission is losing its own legitimacy. It is not a government agency.
You are saying that the natural response to this kind of a discrepancy would be ideally to approach the central enforcement agencies.
Absolutely. I would immediately alert the commission. I would also ensure that this is not just a typical FIR and then I forget about it.
Are you hopeful really that one can get to the bottom of this entire planned operation, what has unfolded before us? Hello and a warm welcome to HW News Network, your one-stop show, truth be told, for some engaging and thought-provoking conversations. It's almost more than 3 days that Rahul Gandhi did his explosive second press conference on the kind of vote theft which had happened in Karnataka's Aland constituency and Maharashtra's Rajura, where he clearly pointed out that there was an organized and a planned operation which was underway as far as the deletion and addition of votes was concerned. He said that there is a proper call center, a proper software which is doing all this in a centralized manner. And yesterday, Rahul Gandhi gave another shout out to the Gen Z of India. He said that Gen Z of India will play a decisive role in safeguarding the constitution and they will prevent the alleged vote theft. And then he invited a stinging response from BJP's Nishikant Dubey, who asserted that the generation stood firmly against the dynastic politics. So this back and forth between the BJP and the Congress is continuing. But what happens from here on? What about the election commission? Are we going to get into this political talk and forget completely that election commission has closed its doors? It is not ready to answer. And plus, whole lot of politicking which is happening, whether it is Gen Z or whether what Nishikant Dubey is saying, who is going to answer the basic questions which the country has forgotten? And mind you, the mainstream media, which is called the Godi media, I have been listening to a couple of anchors on the last night's show where Nishikant Dubey said a lot of things, and what Rahul Gandhi tweeted about the Gen Z yesterday. The prime time anchors, they are shouting out poison and venom against Rahul Gandhi. Say, for example, I'm going to quote today, and I have no hesitation in calling out Arnab Goswami's name, where Arnab has been using a slang language. He's been using a vocabulary of slang in his prime time intros. He's been using words like sus. He's been using words like bad drip for Rahul Gandhi. He's been using words like salty look for Rahul Gandhi. And he's been appealing to the Gen Z that do not have faith on this 56-year-old man. So you can imagine the kind of vocabulary, the kind of tone and tenor which is doled out on the mainstream media. So is anybody really bothered to ask the correct questions? Joining me this evening is a very special guest, former IAS officer, Kannan Gopinathan, who's been an activist also from Kerala, and he resigned from the service as a mark of protest against the restrictions which were imposed in Jammu and Kashmir following the abrogation of Article 370. I thought of speaking to him. Kannan, thank you so much for joining. And it's a pleasure having you on the program. And my first question to you is that it's almost like 3 days Rahul Gandhi did his second press conference, but still we do not know whether, amidst these serious allegations leveled by the leader of the opposition with proof, and he's saying it's 100% bulletproof proof, but even then nobody is bothered to answer. And look at the kind of debates which are happening all across.
No, first of all, thank you for having me here. And it is, a great concern that political opposition has to take up this role, which is supposed to be done by public funded institutions like Election Commission of India, which is essentially paid to do one job, that is to have a free and fair election and ensure that the people are able to vote in a free and fair manner. So, first of all, it shows to the failure of certain institutions, or at least the non-seriousness with which the election commission, has been performing over the last few years. And that's why an opposition leader has have to have this presentation, such detailed analysis. He's giving proofs. He's telling that why this is happening and why it should be investigated, and so on. So yeah, that's my first comment. Who should be instead doing this presentation, right? It should have been done by the ECI, telling that we have got this case of 6,000 odd targeted, coordinated mass deletion attempts in one particular constituency, which at that point of time it was unsuccessful. We have done a detailed inquiry on this, and we have found out that these are the culprits. They were using fake phone numbers, they were using fake OTPs, and trying to do this part. And we have gone and done this full. We asked, done a thorough investigation. We have found out this is. Imagine this has happened in 2023, and we are in 2025 now. For the last 2 years, we as a country is absolutely fine with the fact that we don't know who did this targeted, coordinated mass deletion attempt on our electoral rolls, right? And this could be anybody. It cannot be the case that 6,000 in a particular constituency is done by random individuals. It simply cannot be. It also cannot be said that because they were real individuals, because the OTP, the people whose names have been used have come out and said that we have not been part of this process. So then who are the ones who did this? That's very important to understand. This defense that it was unsuccessful, our processes stopped it, is like I was writing recently on a tweet. It's like saying that there has been a mass shooting attempt, and they wanted to kill 1,000 people, only 2 people died, and suddenly you're saying, okay, we are successful, so we don't need to now know, right? It's fine, let's do a FIR against it, and let it go on for years. It's completely fine. Who did this? Who funded this? What is their target? Have they done? Are they going to do it elsewhere? And that's my concern. My concern is this is one thing that has been caught. Every time when we identify that, okay, something has been attempted in one place, we should immediately be thinking how many places it would have gone unnoticed or uncaught if it is a coordinated attempt. And here it looks like a very clear coordinated attempt. And I think that's where I said it's important to understand who did it, who funded them, where else they were operating. Is it only in Ireland, or is it on whose behalf they were doing it? And how big is this electoral sabotage? How long has this been happening? That's something that we need to know. Now, every question is immediately taken up as a question on the legitimacy of the current government. No, that is not the question. It is not the question whether the current government is legitimate or not. That they've won through an election, as long as that is not challenged, they're legitimate. But if there are improvements in process that needs to be done, that has to be done independent of the legitimacy of the government. That has to be done. It has to be done. I don't think we can escape from that. It is sad
you, as a bureaucrat, Kannan, what are the important questions, according to you, which should be immediately answered by the election commission? And in fact, instead of election commission answering these questions, it is the BJP spokespersons who are holding the press conference, and then they are trying to put Rahul Gandhi on the mat over this.
Yeah, that's where because any question to the election commission is being immediately taken as okay, you are now challenging our election, right, our victory. So that is the immediate narrative that is, and that is also the reason why you see this whole launch of attack on Rahul Gandhi or on the opposition, because that is not seen as a question on the process, or rather a failure of the election commission in ensuring the process. It is seen as, okay, now you are questioning the legitimacy of the government itself. That is very dangerous for the democracy. You are now doing some anarchy, something, you just going spiraling over this and then starting to attack. Instead, you should be more worried. Is this could be an enemy actor, right? It could be somebody else who's trying to do this. It is important to understand where these attempts originated from. Did it originate from within India? Did it originate from outside of India? Whether it is a state actor, whether it is a non-state actor. These are important things to understand. It's not just a question of an Aland and a 6,000 number. This is an attack to vitiate India's election process. And something that we have taken pride over so many years, the election commission itself has taken pride over so many years. This is an attack on that, and we still don't have the answer. And it is rather disconcerting that the apex election body is comfortable with this ignorance, that they don't know who did this, or they don't know where else this has happened. They don't know who is behind it. So that is a little disconcerting for me. And we don't know. We're living in an extremely campaign funding based election process, right? If I need to extrapolate this very well could be a business model. I might be a racket, running a racket, and I'm saying that, okay, particular candidate gives me a call. I need to reduce 5,000 of my opposite party voters. Can you do it for me? Which is like, and
that's an important point. That's an important point, Kannan. You said that who knows that this could be a business model which is benefiting the people, which is benefiting certain parties. Can one really discount that? Probably it could be I know for sure that though it's an old clip, for the last 3-4 days, I've been seeing an investigation by the Guardian, which is there on the social media, where there are a set of hackers who are intervening in the electoral processes of more than 30 countries, and in parliamentary elections and vice presidential elections. So that is the kind of hacking, that is the kind of meddling with the technology which is happening. Can anyone really discount that it could happen in India as well as a business model?
Yeah, I think we have to be very alarmed about this, right? I don't think we can dismiss these things. So it's not just the political opposition. More than the political opposition, I think the government should be more concerned. If it is, it is their responsibility to ensure that, okay, no such targeted attacks is happening, or from outside of the country. Election
Yes.
commission should be more concerned, right? It is the opposition which is raising it because nobody else seems to be concerned about this.
But
As
what would you
citizens,
really say? What would you really say, looking at the attitude of the government? Forget the election commission for the time being, but a government which should be worried at this particular process, which has been pointed out, rather than saying a big thank you to Rahul Gandhi that, okay, good, you pointed out all these fallacies which are coming across. Rather, he's getting in the face kind of replies that, look, you are wrong. You are trying to instigate a situation like Nepal in the country. This is what the BJP MPs are doing. And it's not just one, it's the entire BJP ecosystem which is responding like that.
yeah, but it's not the first time that this is happening, right? So anytime a question on raised by the opposition has happened, the typical response has been that you should not raise anything, right? There could be 100 wrong things with us, but India's political opposition should not raise anything because you have done so many bad things. You are not legitimate enough. You don't have the credibility. You don't have X, Y, Z. You don't have the qualification. So many things that they do. Then who is supposed to raise these questions to the government? If a political opposition does not raise these questions, then who is supposed to raise these questions, right? So this is and but generally the response from the government has been typically the name calling, right? Anybody who questions Desdrohi, anti-national, you are trying to create anarchy, don't want the country, that has been a typical, but that is a basis, like the lowest on the debate hierarchy, right? The name calling part. The second part is about the what you call having some attributing some motive, that you are saying this not from a good heart. You are not coming with a clean hand. You have something very sinister in your mind. That is why you are doing this. So a simple thing as saying that, okay, why is this I had my phone here, right now it is not here. Can I can somebody help me find it? Why are you raising this? You are nobody to say this. Why are you must have something very sinister. You are saying somebody stole it. You are saying that some major hierarchy, something like that. Excuse me. So that has been a typical government response for anybody who has been questioning the government. Here, the funny thing is that nobody is even questioning the government. It is actually
But I'm
ensuring the
also
accountability from the election commission.
Kannan, I'm also worried the fact that election commission is also not bothered to even find out whether some hackers have hacked their website, if they are doing it now. Look at the response what election commission said that day when the day when Rahul Gandhi held his press conference.
Yeah.
As soon as the press conference got over, they said no third party deletion can happen, and no deletions can happen from outside. So that's all the more bigger reason for them to check. But within 10 minutes, without any kind of verification, without any kind of checking, they say that all these allegations are baseless, and they do it as a ECI fact check. Now,
Yeah.
you're not worried that their website could have been hacked if there are so-called extremely professional hackers who are working, and all fingers are being pointed at Israel, that there is a certain set of hackers who are intervening in the electoral processes of various countries. Who knows, they could have meddled with our processes also. So neither the government is worried, neither the election commission is worried. So does it point to some kind of a collusion then?
Yeah, no. That is where again the commission is going wrong here. A willful inaction, no, kind of shows complicitness. People start doubting the whether they were complicit. If there is if you are being not acting willfully, something has not been done. It's been so many years. Commission should have at least come out, or at least should have directed, or maybe ordered a larger inquiry into this. Whether has this happened anywhere else in the country? Has this kind of mass additions have happened? Has mass deletions have happened, right, across the country? Now, the more commission takes a very brazen stance of, okay, dismissive stance, that okay, nothing has happened, all whatever you are saying is all wrong. uh, it's very easy to say that, but what is losing is its own legitimacy. The commission is losing is its own legitimacy. It is not a government agency. It is not part of the executive arm of the government. Election commission comes from the constitution, and it has an independent powers in this country to ensure that both the government or the party or anybody in this country actually trust them, so that there is this legitimacy to the government, and then it continues like that. One thing that they have done is that they've kind of misled the public on the Rahul Gandhi's allegation, which is that this attempts were made, like the application 6,000 plus coordinated applications were made in Alan's constituency, and this is essentially the Form 7 applications which are being done, and on the base of that, generally the deletion is happening, right? So there can be deletion on two way. One is the suo motu deletion where the ERO takes, but this is in a very small window where the commission allows for it. Second time is like when this SIR happened, the intensive revision happens, then the suo motu deletion can happen. Second is actually this through this Form 7, which is an objection to inclusion and also a request for a deletion. So these are the two things that you do with this Form 7. One of the things that commission should immediately do is to take that Form 7 out of all these portals. In the sense, it should not be this easy for somebody to object to an inclusion of another voter or request for deletion of another voter, right? I can understand that making it easy for me to apply to be a voter, but it should not be so easy that I have a mobile and I have an OTP and then I should be able to request for deletion of your vote. That has to be done within that constituency. It should be done only locally, and it should also be only done physically. At least we know who has applied, who has submitted this application for deletion in actual, right, in real. That's something the commission should immediately do. Second thing, with respect to this mass addition also, what has been happening is that we have added this BLAs, right, which is the political party representatives, who come and who are supposed to submit this Form 6, which is for enrollment, and they submit in bulk. But our processes does not actually catch that who is the BLA who is submitting this. Let's say there have been 6,000 additions or 5,000 additions in Maharashtra, and somebody has submitted in all these booths 100 forms, 100 forms, 100 forms, and it has been accepted. Now we don't know that who submitted this 100 forms. The voter's name is there in the Form 6, but he's not the one who is submitting it. It is being submitted on his behalf by somebody else. So again, it can be seen that if it is a coordinated kind of a targeted electoral manipulation or a voter manipulation service,
No,
right?
but Kannan, you as an IAS officer, I'm sure you would have been a returning officer in elections
Yeah,
as well. Now,
yeah,
when a discrepancy like this comes up, uh, what do you immediately do? I mean, as
yeah,
a returning officer, if there is something like this which comes in before you, what would
yeah.
you really do? And what are the suspicions now? That is there a software which is doing it? Is there a call center which is doing it? Is there some kind of an organized syndicate which is doing it? Uh, what are the kind of questions which come to your mind, when you immediately come across a discrepancy like this?
Yeah. So there are two roles here as a district elector. One is as the returning officer on the parliamentary constituencies, and the other is as a district election officer, right? So the electoral role updation comes under the district election officer role. under which there is somebody called as an ERO, then the AERO, and then the BLOs, right? And this is the government setup, and then the BLAs from the political parties are supposed to assist in this enrollment process. Whenever there is a updation happening, right, electoral roll updation happening, if there is an abnormal jump in a particular booth, if there is a change or these kind of things are actually analyzed, and once it is analyzed, then it is raised. But we have not seen this kind of an attempt, at least when I was in service. I have not seen such kind of an attempt where this it is alarming. If something like this would have happened, I would have immediately looking at, okay, maybe involving NIA or involving some major agencies to see that, okay,
Yeah.
why is this happening?
I mean,
This is
you are saying that the natural response to this kind of a discrepancy would be ideally to approach the central enforcement agencies.
absolutely. I would immediately alert the commission. I would also ensure that this is not just a typical FIR and then I forget about it. Right, I'll file an FIR and then okay, that FIR is going on. So no, it's not a silly matter. It's not like somebody has stolen a phone or a purse or something like that. No, this is an attempt to disenfranchise Indian citizens and create confusion and vitiate election process. These are far serious crimes to be just considered as okay, another FIR. There are so many FIRs in this country, which many which don't even reach any logical conclusion.
No, but there
And
is
it
no
was
though there is no FIR on this particular thing. In fact, Karnataka CID has written 18 letters in 18 months. That's what
yeah,
Rahul Gandhi said in his press conference,
yeah,
that 18 letters were written in 18 months, and Election Commission did not choose to reply to even a single letter. And they
yeah,
had been demanding that please give us details about the destination ports, the destination devices,
yeah,
OTP trails. All this would have led to unearthing of this big operation, but they've not
yeah,
bothered. So, what
yeah.
does it actually point out to?
Yeah. So one is either they are completely incapable of doing the job that they are supposed to do, right? And they are non-serious about Indian electoral roll, integrity of the Indian elections and in electoral roll. That is one thing. The other is that they didn't want this to go forward. They didn't want this investigation to go forward. Uh, for what reason only commission can say, right? It will be wrong for me to say. Now that is actually leading to all these doubts, right? Like whether they are complicit, whether they are aware of it. For over 2 years, if somebody is sitting over and you have only one job, it's not like you have to run the country on 100 other departments. You have only one job, that is to ensure that the electoral rolls and conduct elections. This is a simple job for the election commission. If some sort of a coordinated attack has happened on your electoral roll, it is your primary duty and responsibility to ensure that it reaches a logical conclusion. That investigation has, if CID, let's say Karnataka CID is the one supposed to inquire and they have been going slow on it, commission should have pulled them up. Commission has enough power to pull them up and say that why you have not done this till now, right? Whether I should be involving 10 more agencies to ensure, find out who's the culprit here. Now, why is the political opposition coming and raising this issue after 2 years? Because you have not been able to give an answer to this question after 2 years. And not only that, you have not been able to, you're far too comfortable not knowing the answer. And that is where this question comes up. And that's where the opposition has been raising this.
No, but Kannan, I mean, just to give a little benefit of doubt, that because we
Yeah.
do not know as to where all this is coming from, but could there be some kind of an error also, probability of some kind of an error? Obviously, error cannot happen on such a massive scale. Would you call that there is some kind of an error in the system?
No, in one particular constituency, 6,000 plus deletion attempts being done, it's not an error. It's very clear it is not an error. And I think commission already is aware of this. At least the concerned local collector or the concerned BLOs or the EROs, they were already aware. That is the reason why the FIR was filed, right? So it's not like the election commission is filing the FIR. It is actually the concerned officer there was filed the FIR. The commission's role was actually to supervise and ensure that this comes out in the real time, which they have not done. Not only that, not they have done, because these systems, these softwares, be it national voters, this service portals or voter help line app, there are multiple. There are 2-3 apps or website portals which are through which you can do these things, which are all run by the election commission without the IT sister teams of the election commission helping the investigation agency. It is not possible for anybody to go through. And now another way to look at it is, okay, whether now the Karnataka CID should have made the election commission a party and asked them to give this forcefully instead of requesting them, right? But now that would have been in a completely different scale, and no police department, no revenue or no election officials will ever challenge the election commission like that. All they will do is that they will just repeat one more request letter. Sir, can you please give me? Because commission is far above all the officials who are doing this. right?
No,
So
but
I don't think there is a chance of an error. This is
right,
100%. This is a targeted, mass, coordinated attempt. That at least that part I am very clear. Now,
right.
whether this is a one-off instance or there have been multiple such instances, one has been caught. Who, is it a business model? Is it a political
No,
party operation? Is it an
but
external
no,
party operation?
Kannan, I just beg to differ a little because it cannot be a one-off incident. Rahul Gandhi has already shown what happened in Mahadevapura with the first
Yeah,
press conference he did. Second is Aland. Then third is Maharashtra's Rajura constituency, and he's already saying that there are a number of cases like this which he has come
yeah,
across, and he's also going to be exploding a hydrogen bomb sometimes later. So, which means that it is happening across the country. If that is what, if we are to believe what Rahul Gandhi is saying, and he's saying it that I'm a leader of the opposition, I'm saying it with all the responsibility, and I don't speak without having a black and white proof.
yeah, yeah. See, the deletion is particularly alarming for me, in the sense, because addition, we have seen throughout a long period of time, that this bulk addition happening before the elections, where, especially if there is a city and there is a migrant population coming, or if there is a chance of that, then the BLA is adding this bulk thing, and if they are not rejected, if they're not properly verified at that point of time, generally it gets added, and this is some sort of a what you call within the system kind of a thing that has been going on, right? So addition was one thing, but even there, if it is done through the system, like, one is of course the application, then that such and such BLA has done it, right? Now, if it is done again through these portals, right, where this Form 6 have been in bulk submitted, and it has been processed in bulk, and it has been accepted in bulk, Form 6 for addition, then again it points to the same syndicate or the same kind of a racket, organized racket, which is doing this, right? So that is the worry, that whether as a candidate, let's say I'm contesting an election, whether I will be able to add and delete, votes of my choice, or at least attempt to add and delete votes of my choice in my constituency for a money, right, for certain amount of thing, that is far too serious, than maybe, it's like we are so seriously worried about, maybe the influence of money or influence of cash, etc. This is saying that, you only can want to influence them if they're a voter. Instead, if I can influence whether they're a voter or not itself, whether it is in my power to delete somebody's vote and add somebody's vote, then why do I influence? They're my people, right? So it's a much bigger thing than the influence of money and the liquor or any of those things. And Supreme Court has taken multiple cases saying that, government should not give freebies. This is not the way to influence voter. I
Right.
think
No,
far
but
more serious. Yeah.
right. But my last question now, Kannan, to you is that how do you breach this racket? Now there is no investigating agency which is looking into it. Now, when there is a bank fraud or our credit cards are cloned, we report to the bank investigates, then there is a police action over it. But here there is such a massive thing which has happened. Neither the election commission is worried, neither the enforcement agencies are worried, neither the government is worried. So what do we say really towards the end? That, I mean, is there a way out how you breach this racket? Is there a way out how you know what has gone wrong really in the system?
Yeah, one is of course this particular case. Only way to identify is that we need to pursue it to the end, right? The investigation has to be pursued to the end. Now, whether the election commission cooperates or if it doesn't
Oh, so
cooperate further,
investigation, when you say, then the
then
opposition
when I
ruling
say
states
when I
that
say
you're
the
not
invest,
able to do it.
yeah, no, yeah, it's important to understand where these attempts originated from, right? Is it a particular IP? Is it a select IP addresses, right? Then we can also see that from these IP addresses whether such requests have gone to other places, right? Not just here, whether it has, whether this is involved in another other case, or is it a location? Is it can it be geolocated, that where these have been generated? Of course, this could also be routed through multiple VPNs and stuff like that. Still, it is possible to reach and find out that, okay, this is the place where this has originated. It may take time and effort, but we'll be able to identify that, and that should be the number one priority, to identify from where, and also where all this are operated. They have operated both for addition and for deletion, whether they have operated. So one is of course that part, which I think should be, the more commission is unable to give that answer, what they're not realizing is that dismissing and just saying that, okay, you are completely rubbish, is not a way to bring trust. Elections are about trust, right? The loser, whoever is losing the election, should have as much faith in the system as the one who is winning the election. So, and that is specifically the role of the election commission. It is not about selecting the winner. It is actually the election commission or a referee or anybody who is in that umpiring position. Their role is not to ensure that, okay, somebody is declared as a winner. Their role is to ensure that everybody who's participating in the contest trusts the process, right? And for that, they have to be far above and transparent and accountable to the questions that are being asked. Second, for next purpose, what is actually doing is this burden of proof kind of a thing right now. This burden of ensuring that the electoral roll is integrity is maintained has been now completely shifted. Now I think the political parties who are in the opposition, etc., they have to be hypersensitive about this, that in my booth who are the people, whether one person has come or not, whether it has been added or not, whether it has been deleted or not. So we have a publicly funded, our taxpayers, citizens are funding this election commission, and the whole gamut of the functionaries which are below that. Instead of them doing their job, now we have to ensure that it is a much more contested process rather than a trusted process. It has to be a contested process where the political parties actually get involved in every time, whether the deletion has happened or not. They were already party to it, but they were far more trusting on the election officials, that if the election officials say this is verified, they would generally trust it. What is being lost is that trust, and then it becoming a more contested process of ensuring the integrity of the electoral roll, and that's far more dangerous than anything that commission is trying to now avoid, right? It could also be a case that commission doesn't want this to get any highlight, but now it is highlighted, right? And that's something that some will have to come out and answer.
But before I wind up the show, are you hopeful really that one can get to the bottom of this entire planned operation, what has unfolded before us?
No, if you're asking me technically, yes, absolutely possible. Whether if you're asking whether
technically it's possible, but politically it's not possible.
Yeah. So whether there is a political will to do it, or rather a political will to do it, that is the commission, or is it an omission, right? That's something that needs to be seen.
Right. That's why people are writing on the social media that it's not Election Commission of India, but Election Omission of India. But really sad that such a massive thing has happened and nobody is ready to investigate. Thank you so much. I'll have to end it here. Thank you very much, Kannan, for joining on HW.
Thank you.